Today I'm replacing the complete carpet trim on V70 Yes. This is due to the level of coolant that's soaked into it and has completely ruined it. My interior absolutely stinks. So I've got these carpets from the donor car. They're not perfect, but they don't smell half as bad as the ones in V70 Yes. So this video will cover removing the seats. You don't necessarily need to remove the back seats completely, but I will cover that because I don't think I've got that covered in any other videos. I won't be removing the door cards, so this isn't a full interior removal, but I remove the door cards in plenty of my other videos, so if you need to do that, that's not a problem. But we're removing the front seats, and the rear seats have seatbelt pre-tensioners in them, so they need to be disconnected with the battery disconnected. We'll start with the easy bits. So lift up the rear seats, and you'll notice that this is genuinely the state of my interior. I use this car mostly for work and for my dog, so that is why it looks like this. So flip the lower part of the rear seats forward. You'll need the front seats forward enough to flip them up. Undo the locking clips and lift them out. So this is the bit that we don't need to do, but for the sake of showing a full seat removal, I'm going to remove the upper part of the back seats. So get your hands in behind this bolster and pull from the top. Do the same on both sides. So we are doing the rear seats, but before you disconnect the battery, which we're going to have to do because we've got the seatbelt pre-tensioners that are part of the rear seat, we're going to want to move the front seat backwards and undo the bolts under these covers. Now the reason being that we can't remove the seat, we can't remove the bolts from the front and the back with the seat in one position. So with the electric seat, we need it moving back with the, obviously with the battery still connected. Remove the bolts, move it forward and remove the bolts, or at least we've got space to remove the bolts on the rear ones before we disconnect the battery and we can no longer operate the seat. So I'm just going to get these two bolts out the front and move the seat forward before disconnecting the battery. Okay, so it's not actually as bad as I thought it was. I was thinking of other cars where the bolts are upright. The bolts actually point towards the rear of the car. So in the position that allows us to remove the front bolts. So probably about there. We do actually have enough room to remove the rears, but being able to move the seat does make it a little bit easier, so it's completely up to you. But now we're ready to disconnect the battery so that we can disconnect the pre-tensioners from the rear seats. The battery is under the boot floor. Mine's missing the plastic tray, and all you need to do is undo the negative lead with a 10mm spanner and drop the lead out of the way. Now leave the battery disconnected for at least 10 minutes before touching the connectors for the seats. Now we can remove the pre-tensioner wiring, and we've got a bolt here, and the only other bolt that we need to remove the upper rear seat is the seatbelt anchor point. On the larger side of the rear seat, we've got the central seatbelt anchor point and the outer one, and on the small side we've just got the outer seatbelt anchor point. Now the seat is just in a pin in the centre with the anchor points removed and the bolt under the wiring connector. You can lift out the complete seat. Just got these little clips that come on the seat belts. So this here was in this hole here. To remove the front seats fully, what we'd need to do is remove the lower seatbelt anchor point, and we need to disconnect the wiring to the seat, which includes the airbag wiring but is also for the electric seat. So we've got this screw, which would be a 7mm socket, but they're never tight anyway. Then to remove the seat fully, we'd need to remove this lower anchor point, which is a T45 or T50 Torx. What I'm going to do, because I'm just changing the carpets, is I'm going to pull the seat back into the boot. Now, if you are removing the seat, it will fit out of the driver's door, but it is pretty awkward. So if you have the space, I would recommend taking it out of the boot, because you're less likely to damage any other components with the seat itself. Same with the passenger seat. So rear seat pushed back. Now we can focus on getting the trim up that's holding the carpets in position, and we'll need to lift the rear of the centre console up, but don't worry, we won't need to remove it fully. Take a coin to undo this piece of trim and just slide it back, same on both sides. You've got the bit around the bonnet release, which you should just be able to peel over. And then yours won't be pink like this. So this is all the coolant that came out of my heater matrix, and as you can see there's still plenty of fluid sat in here. So I will be drying this out before refitting the new interior. So I'll get the passenger one out as well, and then we can move on to the rear carpet. Also still full of coolant. Thought it might be interesting to know that the dry carpet weighs 3.1 kilos. That's the driver's side. So both of them together, 6.45 for both the front carpets. 5.5 just for the driver's side, the one that's full of coolant. So 10.5, 10.6 for both the front carpets. So there's about 5 litres or 5 kilos of liquid saturating the original carpets in the V70. Pull the rear trims up as well. I think I'm going to replace these from the donor car. They're all a bit mashed. I think this will be more of an issue for refitting than removal, but the centre console has 2 little Torx screws down here that, once removed, will loosen the centre console. There are, if you need to remove it fully, there are 2 more screws hidden under this cover here, but I think that we'll be able to get away with just lifting it up a little bit. I do believe that even without removing the screws, the carpet will pull out. I just think that it'll aid refitting, loosening the screws. Right, let's see what we can do with one hand. So the cable will slide through that gap there. This can come off if you need it out of the way. Oh, that's some money. Is it money? Old pound coin. Good stuff. 2p. Right, so pull the carpet out from under that trim and let's get the mount up. That's a lot of water in this. Wow, it stinks. Looks like there's going to be plenty of weight in that as well. Like carrying around another person permanently. I was surprised how much coolant is in the rear carpet as well. So this is the whole original carpet and it weighs a total of 12.4 kilos. Oh, it's getting lighter. 12.3 kilos. So an extra 10 kilos at least. Can't really get an accurate weight because it won't balance well, and it is peeing out weight already. So yeah, I've been carrying around at least 10 kilos of liquid in my carpets, and let me tell you, it absolutely stinks. So it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to refit these new cleaner carpets straight away, because I'm going to have to dry up the liquid that's still in the car and disinfect it, because it's stagnant. It's quite stinky. Oh, look, more money. So at least I've been paid about a £5 to do this job. In order to get the smell of the stagnant water and coolant out of my car, I've actually left the interior out for the last week, and I've sprayed it several times with disinfectant and bleach even. It was that bad, but today I'm ready to put the carpets back in. So I've just loosened the seats again, and I'm just going to give everything a really good vacuum, because this is admittedly quite disgusting, but like I've said, this car gets used every day for absolutely all sorts. You won't believe what goes in here. There we go, that's a bit better. Pull the seats back into the boot and refit the carpets. There's not much I can really tell you regarding refitting. We are doing the reverse of removal. We'll be making sure that the edges go back up under the trim where they were, and the plastic trim that we have removed will need to carefully reattach, checking that all the clips are intact.